Oh, we back in the building. Smash that like button, gang. I already know what to do, man. Smash that thumbs up. It ain't gonna hurt your feelings. It ain't gonna cost you. The like is absolutely free. So smash that like button. Cause we gotta talk about Diddy today. Yeah, that dude. Remember that dude Diddy, take that. The dude had the conspiracy, Rico charging him and all this, and the sex trafficking, all this and all this. And some people's like, yeah, Diddy's gonna go down. Diddy's gonna do 50 to 20, 20 to 50. I sit back, I wait. Then, then I tell y'all this was gonna happen. He beat the main charge. Now he went to court today. Everybody thought he was gonna get sentenced. Prosecutor wanted 21 to 50 months today. That ain't happened. His lawyers once again went into court, went in there, handled their business like they supposed to, that part. And they pushed the sentence all the way to October 3rd. Absolutely. Now that I think about it, Diddy's birthday in November. I think Diddy's birthday is what, November 2nd? Yeah. Because yeah, Diddy's birthday November 2nd. Yeah, I think it's if I ain't mistaken. So his that's a month before his birthday. And guess what? That's time served. Let's talk about this. Go over the news clip. And another question for everybody that we got to talk about today. Did Diddy habits come back and haunt him and almost destroy his empire? Because shout out to Charlemagne the God, shout out to the Breakfast Club and all that. Charlemagne the God actually had a point, and he spoke about this. He said that Diddy habits actually damaged, almost destroyed his whole career that he almost built. Do having a bad habit could actually destroy everything you built? Absolutely, it could. And Diddy was almost that person. Let's talk about this. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, cause we got things to talk about. Yo, 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 yo. If they know, they know. It's your boy Smoke News TV. We back in the building. Smash that thumbs up. Smash that like button. Ain't gonna hurt your feeling. That just ain't gonna cost you none of that. Make sure you share the video. Keep that notification bell on so you know when I'm dropping my video. Subscribe to the channel. I don't even know what you waiting on. What are you waiting on? Smash that subscribe button. So I hesitate for real. Get down, I mean, get down with the Smoke News TV, that part. And yeah, try to get your membership. Shout out to Team Smoke, shout out to Smoke Gang, shout out to everybody, shout out to all my supporters. Get this copyright out the way. Copyright fair use disclaimer. You can find it in my description on my channel. Everything that I speak on over here is absolutely for educational and entertainment purpose. Again, copyright fair use disclaimer. You can find it in my description on my channel. Everything that I speak on over here, absolutely for educational and entertainment purpose. The clips and videos I play are also owned by the original creators. So if y'all don't know what's going on, this was going on basically. Today earlier, Diddy, they was asking the prosecutor wanted 51. Oh, I said 20 months. Oh yeah. Then his team they argued they argued for 21 to 27 months. So his team wanted the 21 to 27 months, plus what his time served. But the prosecutor, they want 51 to 63 months because they know with the 21 to 27 months, with the time served that Diddy got, going into October, that's already about damn near 13 months right there, time served. Diddy been locked up since September of last year. I kind of forgot about that, to be honest. I was like, God damn, that shit went by quick as hell. I ain't gonna hold you. Diddy, like, his whole shit went by real fast. He been there almost a year, y'all. In September, it'll be a year that he been in there. So what his team is doing, his team is like, yo, listen, sentence up to 21, 27 months because the charges that y'all are actually charging Diddy with, those are the most lightest charges that they have on him besides the RICO charge and the sex trafficking charge. Once they threw them two charges out the case and he got found out guilty on the RICO conspiracy and on the sex trafficking thing, whatever the hell they thought he was doing, they threw that out. Yeah, they boot that out. So the only charge he's got is the most light charges. And the charges that he was facing was mostly domestic violence charges that he and Cassie used to go back and forth and they was bugging out. So that goes up to about what, 21, 27 months. Now I mean almost 30. By the time you go back to court in October 3rd, that's already 13 months. That's basically a year he got time served in. So the rest they could get on probation, parole, stuff like that. He beat this whole shit. Cassie went up there, wasted her goddamn time, got a whole settlement, cashed out for what, 22 to almost 30 million. She went up there. They ain't saying nothing about no criminal activities, riding around with drugs, none of that shit. All domestic violence and relationship toxic issues that they have, and the little escort service and all that. But everybody got their own private life. Who does that? Regular goddamn workers does that shit. They really wasted our time with all these years, man. I mean, a whole year of this goddamn Diddy case. But I'm not going to hold y'all back. Let's get to the clips. Let's talk about this. And we got to talk about Diddy habits. That's the main topic I want to touch on after we skip this one right here that we're talking about. Because Diddy habits almost destroyed everything he built since day one. If Diddy would have got smoked on that RICO charge, let me tell y'all something, that empire would have been destroyed. It would have still been money and bad boys and the whale and all that. We understand all that. It would have been money, but we talking about something that he built that's almost $1 billion. If Diddy would have got found guilty on a RICO charge and all that shit, that empire, by the time he would have come home, God forbid, that empire would have been not worth it. That shit probably would have went down to like 200 million. That's a big, big cut, y'all. When you almost worth $1 billion of a company and yourself, your brand, yourself, and you get found on a RICO charge, nothing is ain't no motion going on while you getting locked up for 20 to almost 50 years. No motion going on. So your money just draining. Your kids ain't got that same motion that he had when he was Diddy, when he was running around the city, that the dude that we know that he get to the back. Because Diddy built that goddamn label from the ground up. Got to give it to that nigga. So if he would have went into there 20 of them 30, 50 joints, man, that empire would have went down to about 200 million by the time that man would have came on. Or by the time that man, God forbid, he would have lost his life in prison because Diddy's 55 years old. We're not talking about a young nigga here. That empire would have completely went down. The revenue, everything would have went down. So he got it off on this shit. But let's get to the clip, man, because we got to talk about all this. And we got to talk about Diddy habits, man, because his habits almost destroyed him. That part. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know the vibes, man. Let's sit back and wait on this. Let's hear this.
Subramanian will sentence Sean Combs to his potential jail sentence, potentially time served, whatever it might be. It's coming on October 3rd, 2025. The way this unfolded, the defense had initially submitted a letter this morning proposing September 22nd as the date for the sentencing. Later in the day, the defense submitted another letter saying that we've spoken to the government and actually we're all in agreement. We don't have to discuss this any further. It will be October 3rd. And the judge is, as you can see here, adopting that proposed schedule from the parties. We will see what happens here. This could be a potentially time served sentence. There might be conditions like for a act. The crime is transportation, it's federal, but the act itself has been decriminalized in so many states. It is regularly not prosecuted by prosecutors, and I ask you, the audience, to consider this very honest, real question. What would your sitting president, especially for those of you who see this man as the be-all, end-all of all things to be decided upon, what would he do? What would he do, honestly? And we all know the answer.
If the president was in that situation, he'll pardon Diddy all day, to be honest. But let's continue. Let's get to the news clip, though. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel.
Have now agreed to a sentencing date.
All right, let's get right to Fox 5's Richard G. Kovas live from Lower Manhattan with the details. Richard.
Steve, Natasha, the hearing inside the federal courthouse today lasting less than 90 seconds when Sean Diddy Combs popped on a Zoom call that we were allowed to listen in on inside that courtroom. He sounded upbeat, asked if his defense attorney was on the call. He said he was, and the two U.S. attorneys got on and asked if Combs or his defense attorney had anything else they wanted to discuss. Both of them said, no, we didn't. And then just like that, the hearing was adjourned. The call then ended with a sentencing date that is still set for October 3rd. Defense attorneys and federal prosecutors had initially agreed to up the sentencing to September 22nd, according to a joint letter filed today ahead of the hearing. But then a second letter was sent to the judge stating that all parties now agree to that October 3rd date. It's not clear why an initial ask for an expedited sentencing suddenly was dropped. The music mogul was convicted last week of 2 prostitution-related charges in this case, but acquitted on the most serious charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. At the time, Defense attorney Mark Agdifalo had said the expedited sentencing was warranted, citing the death of Combs' girlfriend Kim Porter, claiming some of his kids lost their mother. She died back in 2018 and now do not have a father present. But Combs will sit behind bars until his October sentencing, when he faces up to 20 years in prisons. Experts believe, though, that he will receive less since he is a first-time offender. So far, he's been in prison now for about 10 months to this point. That's what happened today. We're live outside.
10 months. Yeah, I sit back and wait. What we talking about here? First time defense, first time charge and all that. When was the last time we seen Diddy in court? Back in the days when Sean was in court. Remember that little dumb out when they was shooting in the club, when he was in there with J-Lo back in 2099, whatever year it was. That's the last time we seen Diddy in court on a serious charge. And we all know how that shit worked out back then. They put all that weight on Sean. Sean ass went upstate, did all them years, lost his career, all types of shit. But shout out to Sean because he got his life together. He's doing good. So salute to Sean, man. But we already know how that shit worked out back in the days. And that's the reason why people thought Diddy was gonna get smoked on this one. They was like, nah, he ain't gonna get lucky on the second one. Nah, they ain't gonna. Man, listen, when they don't got no proof of no criminal charges, and you got the top notch lawyers you could get. You got Brian Still that just beat a RICO charge down there in Georgia. Then you got this other dude that you got some good lawyers. So when you present that and you think man, it's absolutely he gonna beat that charge. But see, the trick is about this, right? When he do come on, is they're gonna spin around the block and try to charge him again for some other shit later on down the line. Because one thing we know, the feds don't like to get beaten on their cases. Even if the case is weak and it's beatable, and you got the best lawyers that beat the case. But at the end of the day, you know how them people feel in the back end of federales. They're like, boy, you think you just gonna get away with this, huh? All right, you got this. They might spin around the block with some real criminal conspiracy shit that could connect Diddy. We don't know. Because we got to sit back and remember, we got the Gene. Shout out to Big Gene. Shout out to Gene Dill. Respectfully. Respectfully. We got Gene that's on all these platforms getting paid for his stories, whatever, whatever. Once upon a time, Gene was there. So we can't take that shit away from him. Absolutely, we can't take that. We wasn't there. Gene was there. But as us people, we hearing your story. So we puzzle. We paint that shit. We sit back. We try to paint the picture of what you're saying. And sometimes your stories stay on point, but then sometimes it just doesn't make no sense. So when it goes back to what I was saying, you got him. You got like so many people that say that Diddy was doing so many criminal shit back then. That's what made me think them federales might try to spin around the block again and try to hit him with some criminal activity charges. I'm just assuming this is Alec. This alleged because I know and we all know them federales just don't let you be the case and they come back and spin around the block about another year or two, couple months, whatever. If they got a big enough case to come back and spin around the block and try to case you up again, oh, it's a possibility. They're absolutely gonna do that. And then number three, they want to empty out his pockets. They love to see people. They love to empty out people's pockets, man, because they know there's no revenue coming in. You was worth 500 mil. Oh, by the time we done with you, that shit gonna go down to 200 mil. That part. So what we talking about? That's how they play. So we can't. You got to remember, we still got the Keefe D's. Remember the guy that allegedly shot Tupac out there and out there and whatever in Vegas and all this. He's still locked up down in Las Vegas. Remember, they still trying to charge him for the Tupac conspiracy murder and all this. Y'all people forgot about that? So now that Diddy beat the RICO charge, will make y'all think they don't got no type of connection with him with Keefe D. I sit back and wait on that. Let me repeat myself. Think about this. Let this marinate in y'all brain right quick. What make y'all think he beat the RICO charge? The RICO for conspiracy. They still got Keefe D. Keefe D's still alive. They trying to pin the Tupac shit on Keefe D as we speak. Because all the yapping and gapping and yapping and all that shit he was doing on them interviews. Yeah, I was in the car, this and that, Orlando V-style, started shooting that pop. Rest in peace to my boy Tupac and rest in peace to Big, man. Y'all already know, man. Two of the greatest. Two of the greatest. That's why I keep that. I mean, that's why I had to put that post up there, because that's two of the greatest right there. And two murders that's still unsolved to this goddamn day. Y'all know where I'm going with this. Y'all don't know where I'm going with this? I told you I sit back like one up. Y'all already know the vibes when Smoke start talking. I talk off the dome. I talk off the top. I ain't got nothing written down because I'm a real hip hop dude. I ain't got to write, oh, let me put this down so I can remember this. Nah, we don't do that over here. I'm a real hip. I remember shit from back then when I was a kid with the Tupac murder, Biggie murder. I mean, I could go a little bit back further if y'all want. Easy. What y'all want to talk about? But going back to the topic, what make y'all think they might not spin around the block with Keefe D still alive? They got Puffy on this. Puffy beat this. Okay, he good. We're going to come back another year later or the end of the year. We're going to see if we can get something out of Keefe. Try to connect Puffy with Keefe. Bring him back to court again on some federale shit once again. But this time, it might be something more crazy, though. Conspiracy to murder. Murder for hire. We forgot about that? Murder. Like how they got Little Dirk out there in LA and all that shit. What make you think they might not? Listen, I know this shit is old, but when you still got somebody alive like Keefe D, that was part of that story, part of that picture that happened to Tupac that night, and he was bringing up Puff name from left to right, and then the image that Puff just got off this case, making him look like he a monster and this and that. Y'all get what I'm going with this? Y'all get what I'm going? Sometimes they like to paint a picture first. Okay, he might beat that charge because we ain't got enough criminal activities on him, but we're gonna get him later on down the line. Cause we got somebody in the cut over here that's still alive named Keefe D, and we're gonna absolutely try to get this nigga to try to connect him to Diddy. I just got a gut feeling, and I might be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just got a gut feeling them feds just ain't gonna let Diddy walk off like this. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. I really think they're gonna let him sit, they're gonna let him chill for a little bit, but they're gonna come and spin around the block with some new shit. And I think that new shit gonna be some old shit from decades ago. Because his name is too attached to these murders, man. From these old cases, unsolved cases that's still open. And the main two is these two right behind me on the wall. His main man, Biggie, his name is all over that goddamn, according to Big Gene. According to Big Gene, allegedly, and everything I speak on is alleged, he said that Diddy allegedly had something to do with Big getting knocked off that night. Am I making this shit up? I'm not making this shit up. He been saying this shit for 20 years already. What are we talking about here? So what make y'all think when you got somebody on a heavy case now, finally, since the Shine case back in 99 when him and J-Lo was in the club. Remember, they tried to get Diddy at that time also. Time goes by. They let him ball for all them years. They come now in 2024. Boom, hit him with a RICO conspiracy, all these charges that he got hit now. Now he beat the RICO conspiracy because of the lack of evidence they presented in court, but he got convicted for the light charges. What make you think they're not going to come back around this time loaded? And this time they like, ain't gonna be nothing domestic this time. Ain't gonna be no relationship, none of that BS cause that shit distracted the RICO conspiracy. The Cassie on the stand, oh yeah, he put his hands on me. I did this. The escort did A, B, C, D on me. That shit was a distraction. They more focused now on the monster, the person that put his hands on his girlfriends and all this. They focus on that. They not focusing now on the criminal activity. I sit back and I'm lying. When you present that for almost a whole week, 2 weeks, freak offs and domestic problems between their relationships, your jury's only going to focus on that. That's it. So by the time you come with the criminal shit and the criminal shit is not strong enough in court to present, the jury's going to look at that like curve that. We just focus more on the domestic and the freak off shit he was doing because y'all presenting that more than anything else. So now y'all got that image of Diddy being a monster. He doing this, you know. He got the image now. People looking at him a little different now when he come home. Will make you think they ain't gonna load up, meeting the feds, the government ain't gonna load up and come back around with this dude Keefe D still alive. And then you got a nigga like Big Gene over here talking like he know everything. Will make you think they ain't gonna bring his ass to court. Think about that. This is nasty work, man. This shit ain't over with Diddy. Guarantee you ain't over yet. But let's get to Charlemagne, and he spoke about how his habits almost destroyed his empire. And they did. After Biggie died and Pac died, Suge Knight even said it. When Suge Knight went in, they had to do his little violation for several years. That's when Diddy just went crazy. Free calls, everything was a whole new Diddy after that. That shit almost destroyed his empire, bro. And I got a feeling they're gonna spin around the block and try to destroy that shit later on. Let's get to Charlemagne the God. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video. Y'all already know the vibes.
I fear people aren't going to learn a damn thing from this Diddy situation. Like, all the conversations I'm having sound so ass backwards. Like, you can blame the system.
Right.
We can say the feds overcharged him. We can say he was railroaded. We can say it was a shakedown.
Crazy.
That's
Shakedown
what they're
is
saying. I mean,
crazy,
this is the
too.
language that
He doing
they're
the
using.
railroading.
This is the language that they're using. They're saying railroaded. They're saying it was a shakedown. But at what point are we going to have conversations about how he gave this system something to shake? Where's the conversations about accountability? Where's the conversations about discipline? Diddy made all this money, gave all these opportunities to people, created all these jobs, and it all burned down because of poor habits and lack of discipline. Drug use, violence towards women, and sleeping with prostitutes. You can't move like that when you are a black man in the position of power that Diddy was in. And I hate when people say things like, well, white men get to do this all the time. Well, guess what? We not white. Okay, we are black, and we can't and shouldn't want to move like corrupt white men do, but nobody wants to have that conversation about accountability and discipline.
And that's real. Shout out to Charlemagne the God, man, because that was some real talk right there. Diddy got to take accountability to what he did because he brought all that shit to himself. Now, if y'all been watching me, y'all been watching my Diddy videos and all that, I go back. I like to play old clips. Pause. When niggas do the interviews back in the days. Y'all can go back and do your own research if y'all want. Now, I mean, there's plenty of interviews on live television, Saturday Night Live and talk shows and all this. Diddy was up on them stands talking crazy. It was one clip that I played that Diddy said that he know that they're gonna come get him because of the parties that he be throwing. You saying this shit on national TV? Yeah, I know the feds gonna come get me because the parties I be throwing. You know, a lot of people be hating on my parties. They can't compete with my parties. This nigga been talking like this since 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He been talking like this for decades on live television as that, making himself a target. That's what I'm trying to explain here. So when you talking like that, and he ain't say it just one time, he said this shit several times on several talk shows, and we talking live talk shows. He even talked about that shit broad daylight talk shows and Ellen. Y'all remember Ellen? Yeah, he was on her goddamn show too, said talking about the free calls and all that. We talking about live afternoon daylight television. And he's talking about parties and free calls and shit like that on the Ellen show. Y'all forgot? I played them clips on my old Diddy videos. So what I'm trying to explain here is you put a target on yourself. Because if you're talking about the parties and all that, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The feds will wait 10 years before they build a case. They came and got Diddy in 2024. They probably was watching this nigga since 2012, 2014. We don't know. But they came 10 years later. Will make you think they won't come 20-something plus years later for the conspiracy of them two guys behind me right here. Pause. Rest in peace, Pac, and rest in peace, Big. With all this yapping and gapping and rat-tat-tat that you got Big Gene and all these other kind of certain people on these platforms talking about how Diddy was involved in this, allegedly, involved in an old unsolved mystery case with Biggie and Pac. Now, I'm not wishing they come and go get him for that because, like I said, between them two, I'm a real big fan. Pac, now I mean, I got him, I mean, he's second on my list. Pac got me through a lot of rough times too. Don't get it twisted, but they two different rappers, Big and Pac. Two different rappers. But I was always a Biggie fan. So when that shit happened in LA, when I was a kid, And this is for the YNs. This is for the youngins at the time when y'all was just born, whatever. Respectfully. I'm telling y'all how I felt when my favorite rapper passed away when I was a young teen. You know the first thing I thought of? I said, why the hell this nigga had big out there in LA? Everybody in the East Coast was thinking that shit. From top of Maine all the way down to goddamn Florida, nigga. Everybody. Why the hell did this nigga send big and go to LA with the crazy beef that they had with the West Coast and East Coast at that time? And then Tupac just got knocked off several months earlier. Everybody felt like there was something strange about that. Why did Puff put him in that plane to go out there? Why y'all go out there, period? So if they do come and spin around the block and try to come get Puff on them cases, I won't be surprised because the way he was moving, the way he was talking, the things he did back then was very suspicious. But when you in that back end and you climb them levels and you making so much money for them people, they're gonna hold you back. They're gonna hold you down. They're gonna make sure you don't get caught up. Throw that shit. Know what I mean, they're gonna. How long this shit been going on with the conspiracy and the narrative about this nigga being involved in all this? Then you got the ex bodyguard all on his platforms saying this out his own mouth that he feel that Puff was involved in Big Death that night, allegedly. There's a possibility that them feds gonna come back around and spin around the block and try to get him for that. I don't care what nobody said. Because y'all got to remember, man, who's the last niggas alive between them two camps in our era now? I sit back and wait on that. And I'm going to name the superstars, the ones that was on the spotlight at the time when they was beefing. You got Suge still alive in jail. You got Diddy still alive. You got Snoop still alive. But you don't got Pac and you don't got Big. To the day that the three people that I just named that's still alive, because this is a theory for some strange reason. And if I'm lying, y'all tell me if I'm lying. When we always got an open case or open mystery case, and certain people are still alive that's standing and still walking around and breathing and all that, we don't really get the real story. We assume, we put it together, we like, oh, that shit don't look right. Nah, man, I don't know. Man, Diddy did something. Why Diddy took Big out there? This and that. And we always got them thoughts. But see, we don't really get the true story until these people pass away. Is what I'm trying to explain here. Now imagine, God forbid, I mean, God forbid, my man, but God forbid, say that we didn't have Suge Knight, we didn't have Snoop, and we ain't have Diddy. Diddy just, or Diddy get smoked on a RICO case, and he's the only one alive from that era. I guarantee you, if I'm lying, I'm flying. I guarantee you, the truth about them two unsolved mystery deaths about Big and Pop will absolutely come out. Because now there's not too many people alive. There's always been something strange about them two deaths, and I don't care what nobody said. And Suge Knight always try to point it out there, but some strange reason they try to get Suge Knight out of here for years. The best they was able to do was lock his ass up. And who was the last two standing as we speak too with that beef? Think about that. Yo, if y'all go down and stroll down, man, when I did a Diddy and Snoop video. Diddy and Snoop, I did a video about them, probably like last year, some shit. Those are the last two honchos that was standing during that whole beef. Suge was already doing his time. Snoop and Puff, they end up squashing the East Coast, West Coast beef between them. And next thing you know, you see these niggas is partying, doing all types of shit together. And I'm lying, I sit back and wait on that. I know people got to grow up as growth and all that, but it was just something strange about that because a lot of people always try to connect Snoop to Tupac death that night that happened in Vegas. Was just one slip up when Warren G, if I'm lying, go do y'all research. When Warren G, or go look at my old video, Warren G slipped up and said that Snoop had a walkie-talkie. Y'all remember when Suge said how the hell Suge had a walkie-talkie that night? Only bodyguards supposed to have walkie-talkies that night. And there was a certain code that we all hit on. So how the hell he heard everything if he wasn't in Vegas? Meaning Snoop. So Suge always point allegedly that he's always felt that Snoop knew something or something the night that Pac passed away that night. Because they all under that same banner. They all rep that blue. Keefy D, Orlando, all them niggas, and Snoop in his camp too. There was always something strange about it, man. And people said that Snoop was Puff was always connected with Keefy D and them niggas. Snoop had problems with Pac before Pac died. Y'all forgot about that? When Snoop went to the radio station in New York saying, "Now I rock with Big and on Puff." Pac ain't like that shit. Couple days later, Pac died in Vegas. So my theory is for y'all think they're gonna spin around the block, try to grab Puff on some old shit, especially when we got a Keefy D still alive. You got a bodyguard that's running around here saying that he think that Diddy was involved in Biggie getting murdered out there in LA. I mean, list goes on. There's so many other people that just put Diddy in the position of getting these two people knocked off. And if they got enough evidence now, plus with the money that Diddy spent now, why wouldn't we think that the feds will come back around and try to grab this nigga again and try to drain his pockets? Even if they don't even got enough proof, but they're just gonna take him and charge him again for some old shit. Possibility they could do that. Might not do it this year, next year, but they'll do it sometime one of these goddamn years coming up. I still believe to this day they're gonna try to glue Diddy in one of these cases right here, Parker Bed. I thought that shit would have happened years ago. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But now that they got him on this case and they embarrassed him, they made a mockery out of him in court. They did it. They embarrassed his image, his character, everything. I won't be surprised they come back around and try to do it another time. What y'all think? Till then, on to the next video, man. Because Diddy kind of put this on himself with his habits, partying, freak offs, talking about it on these shows, all this and that. He put the heat on him basically. So he got to take accountability what he did. You put that shit all on you, champ. But you beat the Rico, so that's the most important shit. But my opinion, I want to hear y'all. I got a feeling they're gonna spin around the block and try to grab him again. I don't know when, but I just got a feeling they're gonna do that. They're not just gonna let Diddy walk off like this. Might not be now, might be next year after that. We don't know. Till then, though, man, I'm up out here, man. Diddy up out here, man. Diddy go back to court October 3rd, man. He ain't really gonna get sentenced too much. They just gonna sentence him a little punk ass 21 something months, whatever. He already got time served. So he gonna come home on that. They're gonna give him probation, whatever. Know what I mean, all that 2-3 years probation. Try to give him something like that. And he on his way home October 3rd, a month before his birthday, too. Think about that. Till then, I'm on to the next video, man. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Keep that notification bell on so you know when I'm dropping my video. Give me y'all smoke in the comments. Give me y'all opinion. What y'all think about this whole thing? Y'all think they're gonna spin around the block for Diddy again? Or y'all think Diddy just gonna live his life and be free? I'm up out of here, man. Rest in peace, Big. Rest in peace, Pop, too, man. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, man. It's crazy, man. If they know, they know. It's your boy Smoke News TV. Salute, gang. I'm out.